The next set of questions are really about how to manage and help our kids process their reactions to and their feelings around these events. So specifically, first, this person asked, how do I ease my second grader's anxiety about school shootings? And again, I would just offer, this would be something we could expand upon for several age groups. But it's the anxiety that's felt around school shootings this person is asking for some advice on.
So there's sort of a bit of a formula that I like to teach parents when I'm helping them support a child who's feeling anxious. And this can be a child who's just generally anxious. They have like, generalized anxiety or separation anxiety or social anxiety, it doesn't matter. It could be, or something very specific that is happening in their life, like what happened on Friday, that they are acutely having an anxious response to, right? It doesn't matter if it's a specific thing or more generalized. And that's to be very supportive. And supportive is sort of lives in between this space of being overprotective and over demanding of them. So when I say supportive, you're going to want to acknowledge that they're anxious, acknowledge that they are having a worrisome thought or a worried feeling, and validate that. Yeah, that feels really scary. I hear you. And then you want to kind of follow that up with this confidence that they can handle that feeling, right? I know that that's something that's hard for you to feel. And I also know that you can handle feeling that feeling. It's okay to feel anxious sometimes, or it's okay to feel worried or scared. And then because we can get into this kind of like trap of then if we want to take that away from them, we want to make them not anxious anymore. We go into this place of, well, let me take it away from you. Let me reassure you that nothing's going to happen and that everything's going to be fine. Or I want you to get it away. So I want you to just stop thinking about that. Stop feeling that right now. Let's distract you. Let's move on. And then we're trying to get our kids to themselves get over it. That's that sort of demanding place, demanding in the sense of we're like kind of expecting them to be able to get rid of something that they're holding. And then the overprotective space is us trying to take it away for them on their behalf. And instead, I think if we can kind of learn to be comfortable saying, if this is anxiety, I'm here. We're going to be okay, but it feels hard. And just being able to sit in that anxiety with them, to name it, to validate it, and also not to fix it. That in general is kind of the strategy that we teach parents of anxious children, to help them learn to tolerate I always say, when we treat anxiety, we don't make the anxiety go away. Anxiety treatment is helping whoever's feeling anxious to understand that that's a safe feeling and that they can tolerate it. That's the anxiety treatment. And then over time, that tolerance for that anxiety helps the intensity of that anxiety and the stickiness of that anxiety lessen, so that it doesn't feel so big and overwhelming all the time. But nobody is anxiety free. That's a human response to keep us safe. We're biologically hardwired to have that experience, and we can't not have it. So we want people to be able to tolerate it.
And I think I would just add that exactly what Sarah said. And I'd also add that anxiety doesn't last. And so part of why Sarah's saying we can tolerate it, and we know you can too, is because we know that anxiety shoots up and peaks, it plateaus and has nowhere to go but down, right? And so this feeling will pass. It doesn't mean anxiety will pass, but we believe that you can survive, meaning tolerate, even if that looks like crying, even if that looks like throwing yourself on the floor, even if that looks like having a really hard time. We as parents can tolerate that, and we know that you can be okay, and be okay means that you can survive it, right? And the more repetition we have that you can survive that, the less power anxiety has. It doesn't go away, but it's a little less sticky, as Sarah said, a little less powerful. And the less that we do to try to get rid of it, the less it sort of snowballs and has more power.
Which I will say is very counterintuitive. Like I know that hearing us say this is like, maybe for some people who've been in treatment for anxiety are like, yep, okay, yep, I know this. But a lot of people who've never interfaced with therapists around anxiety, this feels counterintuitive to like not fix it, to not constantly reassure, to not constantly have them move out of it and say like, you know, I need to stop talking about this right now, or conversely be like, let me make this better, let me take this away for you.
Mhm.
Of course, as parents, we usually really want to take it away from them for them, and it is counterintuitive to say,
Yeah.
this is here, we're in it,
Right.
we're not going anywhere, but we're going to get through this.
Yeah, I wrote down something you said. I've never heard anybody say this, that anxiety is actually safe and that it's a safe feeling to have. Because I think so often, depending on how it manifests itself, it doesn't feel safe in the moment. And especially if you're watching your child process it, it doesn't seem that way because, like you said, it's counterintuitive. But the idea of building tolerance, I think, is really empowering. It's something we can do, and I love that because that's real, that's concrete, that's the strategy that we can all try.